You know, I was like just thinking, we don't dance anymore, Alex. What happened to the dancing?
We can definitely bring the dancing back, Drew.
Dancing is difficult. I will say I was never a huge dance person, but I respect the practice, and it does look very cool for this intro. Guys, welcome to Cinema Bias, the show where we have biases about certain directors, themes, films, and we kind of talk about them, discuss them as they relate to a certain film. We are currently in our Mangolden Age of Cinema Bias, which means we're talking about James Mangold, all the works, going through them one by one, chronologically. We took a little break last week to do the first part of our two-part Christmas bracket. But first, guys, let me introduce you to my lovely co-host. We have with me, as always, the one, the only Alex Mack. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
What up?
Doing good. I just got home a little bit ago, so we are running late, and I apologize because that is me. I literally walked in the house 2 minutes before I popped on camera.
Alex, you don't have to apologize when I am currently always running. Oh, that's not the right amount. Currently running 20 minutes late on average. Today was the very first day, I think, in history that I was more than 5 seconds early for one of these shows. Just any show in general.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So, Alex, we've been going over all these James Mangold films after doing the John Patrick Shanley Science of this summer. What have we learned so far about Mangold?
What we've learned so far is that this is a man that loves to experiment with themes, with actors. A lot of actors like to stick to the same, not the same group of actors or anything, but they definitely like to keep a lot of similar actors around for some of their movies, similar to Mangold for some of them. Hugh Jackman, or what's her name? Oh gosh, this why I'm not in Schmoedown.
Wait, like who? I feel like I haven't seen the same.
Davis. I think Viola Davis. She's been in a handful of his movies as well. But yeah, he's a man that is constantly trying to experiment with new genres, themes, and groups of actors as well. But also, he's definitely a guy that really likes to play with expectations regarding masculinity.
That is true.
I've noticed from the very beginning of his filmography.
Hey, Adam. Welcome, Adam Witt, to the chat. I have a lot of fun thoughts about this one in particular, guys. Before we get started, though, you see that little tip jar? It is depressingly empty for the holidays. So please, sir, may we have some more of your tips? So if you want to go to streamlabs.com/VideoDrew, or just send in a couple bucks through the super chat, always helpful, always appreciated. What I think I've learned from Mangold is that I don't know what he does. I know what he does. I just don't know what his deal is. I'm okay, so Girl Interrupted, that's one thing. That's very clearly a drama that's I said about the female experience, and it's very strong. And then you got Night and Day, which is a whole another thing, and Copland, which is really good. I think that's my strongest one of his so far. I really like Copland. And some of these other ones where I'm just you goofy. You're a goofy man. It's he's some sort of gadfly from the 19th century, some sort of Renaissance dandy with his little hands and a bunch of various interests.
Renaissance dandy. Can I get that copyrighted and put on a sticker or something?
Yeah. It's just it's like me and Pokemon and stuff. Oh, hey, Nick. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Hell yeah. He's one of these guys who's just I can't judge because I'm just like this too, where I can feel him going this week I'm interested in this thing, and next week I'll be interested in this thing, and they're not really Kate and Leopold in this movie. First of all, this movie, the Wolverine, we're talking about 2013. Is that the right date? 2013 is the Wolverine.
Adam, you're kind of in the IG spectrum. Let us know what year it came out in. It's just something somewhere around along that time period. I know it was early in the 2010s, but I can hear myself.
You're playing. We can hear you. taking this thing off because it's hot.
But yeah, so this movie, I was talking to Lucas earlier, and hearing it, I was like, Hugh Jackman collaborating again, obviously, but I just kept thinking, did he want to do a Marvel or superhero movie because he's trying something new again? Or did Hugh Jackman be like, this is a director that I know will do well. Let me bring in James Mangold.
Well, look, this was before, like, this was when Marvel, I mean, I don't know, because we were watching the first Spider-Man the other day, and it did say produced by Kevin Feige, and that was before he was part of the MCU. So, like, I don't know how much of a hand they had in, like, creating these contracts, like, for the MCU.
Well, Kevin Feige, he's been producing superhero movies since the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's like, I don't know if like Hugh Jackman had a contract that was like, you have to appear in literally every single X-Men movie. Cause like he does, he's like the one that appears in all the new ones too, like X-Men First Class and X-Men, like Days of Future Past. Like he's just like in the X-Men franchise for better or for worse. And I do wonder sometimes like how much of that is under duress and like how much he's just like, well, that's my thing. I'll just keep on being the hey bub guy until I die.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't hurt that he makes like $1 bazillion every time he makes a quick cameo even.
And what am I saying? Until he dies, he did die. That I think that's where we're going to with Logan, which will be directed by James Mangold down the line. But first, we have this movie. This was like the first, I believe, spin-off X-Men movie that we had. And so I'm not sure how much sense it would make if you haven't seen the X-Men movies. Like it follows a lot of the same beats, I feel like, as Deadpool 2 with these constant Jean Grey. You have to like know the relationship of him and the dead woman he's constantly talking to. But you know what this movie is above all other things? It's like a detective film. It's like a film noir set in Japan.
Yes, modern day Japan.
But like, okay. But here's a quick, like, just if I was a studio exec and I was giving my notes, my first thought would just be, like, why? Like, why is that what Wolverine needs to do? Wolverine as a character, not a detective. Like being part of a super league, I think by definition kind of makes you like not anti-detective because that's like, that would be too extreme. But to say that like being part of a super team means you don't really need to question like why the bad guys are doing what they're doing or who the bad guy is. Like, it's just kind of like, bing, go get him. Like you don't have to do any sussing out of like a, you know, like some sort of like, oh, this person was planning it the whole time. There's no Scooby-Dooing of the whole situation. Unless I guess there's Doctor Strange. There's no Scooby-Dooing. That's why in the new Spider-Man, that Scooby-Doo line seems so weird and innocuous. I mean, the opposite of innocuous. It seems so weird and like off-putting is because you're like, what does Scooby-Doo mean in the context of Spider-Man? Like, what does detective work mean in the context of Wolverine? It's not like he's a genius.
Well, this movie in particular, I actually personally never thought this movie came off as a detective story. He's not being proactive. He's more reactive. He's never really figuring stuff out along the way. He's more reacting to things that are happening to him, and that it just so happens to be with these people, and he's just following them. But he's not like solving puzzles. He's not getting clues or anything like that. One of the big things he does, he figures out, is that he figures out at the funeral. He's like, "Hey, you guys were supposed to be like Buddhist monks, but I see you in tattoos. Sus."
Well, it has all the trappings of a film noir in that like the Inherent Vice, Big Lebowski kind of way, which is that our guy doesn't always need to be an actual detective, but he does need, there needs to be a femme fatale that's like in danger that he's trying to protect. There needs to be like this sort of like big kind of conspiracy going on around him. There needs to be like a reveal at the end. It needs to be like the things were not what they seem. Murder, like all these things going on. But I'm going to tell you something, Alex. This movie starts out with Wolverine saving a Japanese soldier who has like put him in a hole during World War II, saving him from the Nagasaki.
He was a prisoner of war at the time. He wasn't. He wasn't. Yeah, he was a prisoner of war during World War II, in Japan, and Americans, they drop a big old bomb, atomic bomb, on their small town, and Wolverine, he happens to protect.
They dropped it on Nagasaki, to be clear. they dropped the bomb. It is the bomb.
Was it Nagasaki?
Yeah, they say it was in the bomb in Nagasaki, but the crazy thing is that he manages to save this guy's life by putting him under a metal can, like a metal lid. And I don't know if that would save you from nuclear fallout. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know if that does that.
Well, he does get pretty darn burned. Like his most of his face is burned.
You would think he would have died of cancer at like 32, though. This guy, like Wolverine, can't protect him from like the blast radius of all this stuff. Nevertheless, cut to whatever many years later, and this guy is dying in Japan. He's very rich
from cancer.
From cancer, sure, but like at like 90. So like
he's not like 90. He looks like in his like mid late 70s.
Okay, well, if he's a 20-year-old soldier in 1940, whatever, you gotta do the math, like, right? He'd be like,
I guess so.
Point being that like he's like, hey Wolverine, I know that you like to not be alive anymore. How would you like to not be alive and give your powers to me? Because I know how to do that. This is another problem I have with the movie is like how, but you know what? Let's table that for now. So he's like, let's swap. I'll give you mortality. You give me your immortality. And Wolverine's like, no, I just came to see you because you were dying. Peace, bro. He goes to sleep. Something weird happens with Jean Grey and this poison thing and this other lady who's the doctor. He wakes up. That guy's dead. That guy's dead. And guess what? There's a girl there whose whole thing is that she can tell you when a person's going to die and predict it like to the moment the person's going to die. And I gotta tell you, this movie's kind of weird because the first thing she says is like, I didn't see that guy dying. So it's kind of obvious like who the killer of this movie is or like what the reveal of this movie is going to be. Did you feel the same way? I feel like from the first scene, I was like, okay, well, so he's like not really dead, right?
Well, I kind of had this. I've had the ending kind of spoiled for me for a while, just because I haven't seen the movie up until today. I don't know the ending. However, I remember watching the trailer and I knew one of the primary images was literally that guy with his face burned in a big old metal suit. And I was like,
yeah, they kind of fucked that up.
I mean, I was like literally in the trailer. So I was like, we already know the ending.
That goes to the point of the thing. Maybe it's not supposed to be a mystery, but it's certainly a mystery to Wolverine. And like, he's certainly going along to it. Like there's a conspiracy of this secret ninja assassin squad. Oh yeah, there's these two girls. One can see when you're going to die. That's her mutant power. The other one's just the granddaughter. Another question. So this guy's going to leave all his money and all his fortune and his entire land to his granddaughter. And that really upsets her father, his son. Yeah. Because he's like, you should have given me all the power and the money. Like, I want it. What did passing it on to his granddaughter matter if he was just going to rise from the dead? Like, it's not going to revert. Was he going to kill her? Was he going to take her body? Was he like, how is he planning to pull this off? Because he's dead. So coming back as like a 20-year-old guy and being like, nah, I'm the rightful heir.
Well, I think the thought process was that he, even if he were technically alive, he sees so much benefit to being dead to the public. He's been president of this company forever. He's been a public figure for just as long, and he thinks to himself, I can probably get more done. I can probably be involved in so much more now if I did stuff behind the scenes, just like Tony Leung's character from Shang-Chi, and he did everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, but like,
he was immortal.
Well, the difference being that like this guy wants to remain in power, and all you said might be true, but that is never conveyed in the plot or through spoken dialogue that he's like, I can get more done pretending to be dead. It's also unclear that his granddaughter would give him any like rights back to him. Like, what were they planning to do with her? Like, was she gonna live?
Well, the plan was he chose her because even like what's her name, Viper or Vesper or whatever her name was, even like said it and where he was like, why do you think you were chosen? And he's like, I am the granddaughter. I am the head of the household kind of thing now. And she was like, no.
She was like, do you think you were chosen because you were strong or because you were weak? But that line doesn't make any sense because we never find out which or what he's going to do.
But his thought process, well, at least to me, it came across as, I can manipulate you. I know exactly what to say to get the results I want. So
yeah, I mean, if you have poison and you have mutant powers and you have all this stuff at your disposal, maybe you should like, here's an idea. Here's how I would have fixed it. have him bequeath all his fortune to a mysterious 20-year-old figure who he claims is like another kid that, like another grandkid that he has with a burned face, kind of like his. And then when he comes back from the dead as a 20-year-old guy, boom, he gets all the money. Like they hadn't even done the will reading yet. She wasn't even technically, I think, the heir yet.
Yeah, it had to be 3 days. It was going to be read 3 days after.
Right. So she doesn't technically own shit yet. I guess it's all still his, rendering this whole fucking thing more like pointless. So there's also this thing about Viper Lady. She's bad. There's the fiance who is the minister of finance, taxes or something.
Nope.
There is there's her secret boyfriend, her lover, who is a ninja, but they keep calling him the Yakuza, which was like, I was like, is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
No, the Yakuza is literally just like the Japanese gang.
Yeah, I thought it was Yakuza, but okay, Yakuza. I don't know how to speak Japanese, so that works for me. But just hearing Hugh Jackman say it. Sorry?
Maybe he thought he was part of the Yakuza.
But again, this goes to the point of like, we have to extrapolate all this from like we have to just sort of assume their intentions and what they thought that like is going on, because you're right. Like Wolverine is kind of just focused on, oh, boom. Let's see. Adam says something. 13-year-old me would never thought he'd see Wolverine on screen at all, much less an adaptation of Frank Miller's Wolverine. Oh, well, there you go. It's an adaptation of Frank Miller's Wolverine. Hey, Adam, is this what happens in Wolverine?
Oh, his name, by the way, Drew, her like low-key boyfriend that she like fell in love with when they were kids and everything that everyone's seen in ages, and he was like, I will protect you. His name was not Yakuza. His name was Harada.
I don't think his name was Yakuza. Yeah. Sorry, let me be clear. I believe that Wolverine keeps referring to the ninja group that he's a part of as the Yakuza, when clearly they're ninjas and not like a Japanese street gang.
Clan. Yeah, the Black Clan. Yeah.
But he keeps calling him like, why did you send the Yakuza after me? And I'm like, what is he? I was like, that's kind of offensive. Is that what he thinks that is? Like, that is an ancient warrior tribe.
Well, the Yakuza was after him for a while though. So as far as he's concerned,
was he talking about like some other group that I missed?
There's the Black Clan, which is the ninjas.
Okay.
That's been protecting the family for hundreds of years. And then there's the Yakuza, who are hired for a handful of things, like kidnapping the girl from the small village, the daughter, fucking up the funeral, things like that. For more public stuff, you want to hire the Yakuza just because it's more obvious, versus people can track down the history of the Black Clan and their relation.
Okay. So I guess maybe I missed that. So let's back up for a second. I did kind of miss the whole origin story of the sword in the stone thing going on. Question. This family has been protected by a secret ninja clan for hundreds of years. That means that they're that powerful.
Literally like 700 years. Yes.
Why the fuck is their son like why did they send their son up during World War II to work as like a grunt and like fucking...
Well, he wasn't a grunt though. He was an officer in the Japanese army, and it was actually at the time it was required. Like, even if you are from a wealthy family, it was required by law to have a man in the family, a male heir, be contributed to the military to serve.
You know what? Then question answered. Like, let's move along. So this guy was just a really rich. He was always going to be like this really rich scion. It's not like he made his way through being some captain of industry. He was just a really rich dude.
Yes. Maybe I don't know if he was always like that rich, but there was definitely something there.
Okay, next, moving on then. There seems to be a couple things going on with Logan here. His power is being taken away. We originally think it's the special magical means that this guy is talking about. He can transfer the power from Logan to himself, make Logan mortal, so Logan can die after living an ordinary life. This guy really does make it sound super appealing. But it's just like, he's just like, you can just die an ordinary death like an ordinary dude when you're ordinarily old.
Family. Have a family, get married.
Yeah, just do whatever shit you're onto, Logan, just do that.
Yeah.
But then there's a secondary thing, which is the poison, or like the little bug. Viper's whole deal, whatever. But like she implants a bug through, I guess, green tea, and the bug is like lives on Logan's heart and suppresses his powers. Does not take away his powers; it suppresses them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still unclear about like how the powers were supposed to get transferred from one guy to the other guy. They do it near the end of the film, apparently just by jacking themselves into his bone ports, his claw ports.
Yeah. Well, so his before his so even before the metal, the adamantium or whatever it's called, that was that was an experiment. He's not born with that, obviously.
No, he's born with the bone hands.
Yeah, the bone. Yeah, the bone.
The grossest thing I've ever seen in a movie.
But
that he
was also Wolverine is not immortal.
No,
he's very slow aging. That's the big thing.
Well, you can't kill him. You can't.
Very slow aging, and that was the power that was suppressed with the little heart bug thingies.
But wait, he doesn't age super fast all of a sudden until like the end when they're doing the jacking the power from one person to the next person. It's almost like the thing just that inhibits his ability to heal. That's what he can't do. He can't heal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie, oh my God, I can't believe this. This movie received positive reviews?
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I gave it a positive review earlier. This movie, what I appreciate about it is that one has awesome fight scenes. The one above the train where they're going there. I thought that was really cool how they did that. Mm-hmm. And also I actually kind of expected not so great things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I expected this movie to suck, and it didn't disappoint. I don't know. I thought this movie was weird, but
yeah, it is weird. It was, let's say, I expected this to be really bad because I expected some weird racism. I expected some fetishization of Asian women, especially Japanese women. We have a history of doing that in American cinema. And so that's what I expected. And so watching this, I was very surprised there was none of that, which is more than I can say for a lot of movies today. And this was a decade ago or so. Mm-hmm. And I liked the fight scenes, and has a lot of Asian actors that I really, really like. And I don't think this is definitely not a movie that I'm watching because this is a great movie with a great script or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. I just think it's a fun movie. It knows what it is, and it has some interesting, fun characters.
I'm reading,
more of a standalone.
When I'm reading about it, it's really interesting because this movie, I know that Aronofsky had been hired originally to direct this film. That would have been a completely different movie, right? If the Requiem for a Dream guy did this film, I don't even know what it would look like. Mothers like Darren Aronofsky. But then also Doug Liman, Anton Fuqua, Justin Lin, Gavin O'Connor, these were all people that could have been the directors of the Wolverine. Doug Liman, totally can see that. Anton Fuqua, same. Justin Lin, that would have been a bomb-ass film. You actually hire an Asian director to direct an Asian action movie that just happens to star Wolverine, and it's the guy who did the Fast and Furious franchise. Oh yeah, that would have been a great film.
Also, there's so many people in this movie that are fantastic. Hiroyuki Sanada, holy shit, is he an underrated actor? He played Shingen. He played Mariko's dad, the main son, and he's
he was so good.
He's fantastic. He is an established actor in Asia. He is a movie star, and people are only finding out about him now. I mean, he was in Mortal Kombat recently.
Oh, that's where he's from.
Yeah, he was in the opening scene of Mortal Kombat. It's arguably the best part of the fucking movie. He played Scorpio.
And then he played somebody else recently too, because it was him in Mortal Kombat and then him in something else. Wait, was he Scorpion or was he?
He played Scorpion. Yeah, it's get over here.
He was just in something else too.
He was in most recently Army of the Dead. Even regardless of how you feel about
there we go.
He was in Army of the Dead. He was in Yeah, depending on which version you saw, he was in Endgame, he was in Live, he was in
Wait, he was in Endgame? So he's like 2 characters in the MCU? Or I guess Marvel and MCU.
Yeah, at the time they weren't technically together.
I mean, they're not technically together, but I do like finding those ones that are like technically a crossover like actor who exists both in the MCU and the Marvel universe.
And a lot of people forget that the Wolverine is a thing. So they were like, let's put him in this one. Fuck it.
I mean, Michelle Yeoh is both in Guardians 2 and it's both Marvel, but Guardians 2 and Shang-Chi.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
Oh wait, forget me. I'm thinking about the one of the other actresses. Never mind. Forget me. But point being, a lot of these actors are really fantastic. Ryla Fukushima, she's kind of underrated. She was most recently she was in Annette.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, really? Is that
which one
was in Annette? Which one was in Annette?
The red hair.
Red hair. Oh.
Yeah, she was
who's she in Annette?
I don't know.
That just because that would make sense because I was staring at her and I was going, I don't know if I'm just being like a little bad about understanding like what different people look like. I just have like general face blindness. But I was like, people are looking very familiar.
Yeah, she's a very specific look. She's like a former model turn actress kind of thing. But she's been in a ton of movies as well. Tao Okamoto, the main chick, she's been in a ton of movies. I mean, she was in Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Yeah, she's been again in a ton of movies.
I'm so glad you mentioned Hiroyuki. Is that his name?
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Hiroyuki Sanada. Thank you. I thought I was going fucking nuts. I was like, this guy, I've seen him in something like real recently. I've seen him a lot in something real recently. He's also in what else was it Speed Racer or like Westworld or something? He's in one of those.
Racer. He was in Westworld. He was in Sunshine.
Oh yeah. I like Sunshine.
Yeah. Will Yun Lee,
fellow MCU actor Chris Evans.
Yeah, Will Yun Lee, who was like the leader of the Black Clan and like boyfriend to what's her face. Mm-hmm. She was in like a whole bunch of stuff. He's going to be in the upcoming Blade Runner TV show. But he was like in Rampage just recently.
Wait, the upcoming Blade Runner TV show? Am I missing something? When did that happen?
Oh, it's not out yet. Blade Runner.
I'm saying, when did that like get announced? That's crazy.
I don't know. I have no clue. But yeah, he's been in a ton of movies. Again, he was in Rampage with Dwayne Rock Johnson. He was in another Marvel movie, Elektra, as the main villain.
I thought the main villain in Elektra was. I thought that was it not? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of Daredevil. Probably. Somebody is saying no. X-Men movie has been great, A+ in my opinion. Yet, I mean, it's hard to get an X-Men story that like works as a standalone. I have, there's not. Besides Logan, I'm trying to think of like an X-Men story or a run like the Amazing X-Men or like the Extraordinary X-Men or whatever. The Grant Morrison one was pretty good, but like it's hard. I feel like to get a whole run in as a movie. So it's like, the Logan worked because it was a standalone comic. And then I feel like it's really hard to find another standalone X-Men.
I really, really love X-Men and X2. I really like those two. And I'm like, damn it, I really don't want to like anything directed by Bryan Singer, but I really like these movies. I really do.
Days of Future Past was pretty solid.
It's been a while since I've seen it. And I remember liking it a lot, but I didn't love it the way I loved X2. And I mean, like X2 has like Brian Cox like manipulating his son.
Stryker. It's got Stryker in it.
Great as Stryker. I was like, what gave you the right?
Hot take: the best X-Men story that I've seen in modern like pop culture is Legion. As a spin-off X-Men series, like Legion was really strong. And it worked in by the end of it. I know it's like not, it doesn't seem particularly X-Men canon-y, but David is Professor Xavier's son, who is sort of like the Stryker's son character. Like they kind of like mess around with it. It's supposed to be the son that Xavier has with Moira. And he's sort of like he's got a couple he has like schizophrenia or he's got some sort of mental stuff. And in the show, they do a really good job building, like, the story is just built around him, and you don't find out he's Xavier's kid until season 3 when they bring him in, and it's just so good. That show is so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy how many people that are in this, like, once you realize that you've seen them in so many different things. I really hope to see more of them and more mainstream movies rather than these like side characters to movies like 47 Ronin, where Keanu Reeves is like the main star.
You're saying in American movies? Because like it seems like they star in mainstream Japanese movies, these guys. Or
yeah, but I'm talking about like Hollywood, like mainstream Hollywood movies, though.
I mean, agreed, hard agree, especially today, like literally today when we're having this discussion about licorice pizza and like whether or not people have the right to be offended over what is very clearly a racist and upsetting joke in like the film, and people calling that like the best movie of the year. I
haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on that.
I have not seen it either, but like I'm saying, it's not me to say who's offended, like if it's worth being offended by, it's not on me.
I do know it's a movie, from what I've been told, when it comes to licorice pizza, it is a movie that takes place in the 70s, and so you have to kind of have that mentality of these characters that's how these characters are behaving in the 70s, and there is racism and racist comments.
I guess what I've been hearing is, and again, this is what I've been hearing, and again, even if I saw the movie, it's not on me to tell people that they don't have a right to be offended. But what I understand about that scene is that it's like played up for a joke. Like the joke is played to the audience as a joke, and the audience like laughs. Like a lot of times, like the people watching the movie will the audience will be laughing. Like
that's
it's played as a comedy beat.
Yeah, if you are offended, obviously that's gonna suck. If you but
like to hear a whole audience laughing over a racist joke under the guise of, well, it's okay because it was supposed to be the 70s. Point being, there's a lot of, obviously right now there's a lot of like Asian hate crimes going on. There's a lot of like, can you believe it?
What?
So watching the Wolverine under the context of this, I'm like, I mean, this movie at least gets an A for trying and not fucking up so badly that like, it's like the only thing I could find that I was like, this is kind of, was like at the end when he's like, I was going to tell you goodbye. So sayonara. And I was like, oi, come on. Oi.
I feel like that, like they just need to give him they just needed to give him a quippy line.
I know. That's why it's so weird.
It's like so predictable and pretty boring. But
I was like, don't say sayonara. Don't say. Oh my god, he's gonna say it. He's gonna do the thing.
Well, overall, like what were some of like you kind of mentioned specifically parts of this movie that definitely could have been improved, and I think we both agree definitely need to be improved. But what did you think about the movie as a whole?
Well, again, like if you're gonna spin off the X-Men, I get why Wolverine is an attractive option. Hugh Jackman is wildly successful in that franchise.
Of course.
Standout player. I just think this is like such a weird, although maybe like perfect place to go with it. Like his first spin-off standalone thing, and you're just like, okay, Wolverine, he's always been a wanderer, he's always been a Ronin. I guess in my mind, this movie took place in the past. I thought it took place in feudal Japan, quite honestly, until like today.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I really did, because I remember seeing like some stuff about like the swords. I remember seeing the marketing, and there was a lot of swords. So I was like, Wolverine's been alive forever. Maybe this one just takes place in like the
feudal Japan is not like super recent, though.
He's been alive forever.
No, he hasn't.
When was he born?
He was like
hundreds of years ago. Wolverine's hundreds of years old.
No, he's like was born in the late 1800s. He fought in the Civil War.
Wait, how does that mean that he wasn't alive before then?
Because he was in the opening scene of X-Men Origins. He's a child in the mid 1800s.
Says he was born during the late 19th century, so that's 1800. So yeah, so maybe not feudal Japan. I guess maybe I just didn't know that. So
yeah, well, you have to. Yeah, that's. I mean, like I don't expect you to know that. That's like something you have to only from watching the movie.
Okay. I see. He was born in Canada, which is weird. I think I did know that he was Canadian. So anyway,
there was actually a line. Actually, my favorite moment. Lucas was actually making me a lunch when I was watching this for the first half of it, and there was a line at the funeral where the son says, "My father's always been fascinated with your kind, to his detriment." And
yeah, I was gonna be like, oh my God, please say something like the Jews. Like, just say something like totally upsetting there.
I was hoping he would say, weird, he likes Canadians.
Yeah, I was hoping he was gonna say something like really funny, like what? Yeah, what, you don't like Americans, or like what, bub? I thought that was a very funny line too. We don't like your kind. I was like, oh please. The joke I made, I was like, oh please say like you don't like the Jews, and then have it just be a thing that Wolverine is canonically Jewish now. Perfect. Well, overall, what I thought though, like, I mean, I guess having this conversation make me realize that it should get some credit for like going off the beaten track, making this a non-American film, making this an all Asian cast except for Wolverine, like literally, and the Viper, like all Asian cast. Speaking in Japanese for a lot of the film, there's like big portions of this film that are in Japanese. Maybe I should like give it some more credit than I gave it. I just thought it was like such a weird and like abrupt choice to go from the X-Men franchise to this.
I actually really liked that about it. I like that it's more of it's not technically a standalone movie, but I like watching an X-Men movie without X-Men in it, if that makes sense. It was in theory, it's a standalone. We get to see
Wolverine.
What
makes it not a standalone?
Just because it references, like you mentioned, like Jean Grey and stuff like that. It's you kind of have to have some knowledge going into it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think it is a standalone in the sense that like you need the context of the Jean Grey stuff, but it stands alone as like it doesn't. None of the other X-Men are in it. Besides Jean Grey, none of the other X-Men are in it. They're never really part of the plot.
And I really love the idea of, I would have loved to see just more movies with him. I mean, because he's done so many, obviously, as Wolverine, I can't imagine. But it's clear his character has had 1,000,001 adventures, good and bad. He's fought in multiple world wars. He fought in Vietnam, World War I, World War II.
Dude is tired.
And yeah, so you can only imagine the adventures, good and bad, he's had outside of hanging out with the X-Men.
Yeah, the X-Men. I mean, that's what's funny about like seeing him in First Class and like and Days of Future Past. It's like whenever they run into him on this new X-Men timeline, he's always like, "Fuck off!" Like he's like, "I'm on my own thing." He's got his own thing going on. I like that about him.
And I do want to let you know, for future reference, feudal Japan is definitely an extended period of time, but it actually is considered between 1185 to 1603.
Okay, so I was way off. But to be fair, it's been pointed out to me lately that I don't know a lot about politics, geography, or like time periods. But you know what? That's not why I joined the movie trivia league, guys. It wasn't because I was good at math. There was like when I was on SCN the other day, and like everyone was pointing out that like India is a country, and I was like, I think it's also a subcontinent, but I got a lot of flack for it. But somebody in my Twitter recently was like, "No, it is." Like somebody from India was like, "It is also a subcontinent."
It is a subcontinent and a country.
Yeah, so there's like Bangladesh, Pakistan, all those places are also at one point considered part of the Indian subcontinent. That was all I was trying to point out there. I am very ignorant when it comes to a lot of geopolitical
stuff. As far as I know, that's not the case.
Like, really? That's what the guy was saying on Twitter, is that
now I need to know.
He was saying that the Indian, before like the British colonization, the British India thing, those were considered part of the Indian subcontinent.
No.
I don't need to open that shit up again.
That's not what I'm referring to. Like the continent, like scratch that. What I'm thinking about is like plate tectonics, like the actual plate.
The point being that I didn't mean to open this can of worms again, but the point being is I'm aware of how ignorant I am about some of these subjects, and like, so I don't mind being taught some new things, and that I definitely like try to retain what I've learned. But yeah, the fact that feudal Japan, it's more like I knew that feudal Japan was way earlier than the 19th century. I just didn't know how long Logan's been alive for, which is, I think, a much less egregious sin than the other way around.
Indian. Oh shit. The Indian plate.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yeah.
Whammy.
Why does that have the Australia right next to India? Is this before, like, is that
No,
Pangea?
because the Indian, like, so the Australian plate is actually larger than just the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's referring to plate tectonics. It doesn't refer to just the land mass. It refers to
Yeah.
the total land mass, like in like the surrounding oceans. And
Please God, don't let this be the hill that I die on. The whole India is. 'Cause I said what happened was I said the Indian countries, and everyone was like, "Whoa, Drew, India is the country." And I was like, "I know. I just the other countries in the Indian subcontinent is what I meant."
yeah. Mhm.
But point being that I don't know that much about anything. But fuck, ask me where Arkansas is on a map. I can't show you. Like I don't know what the Arkansas area looks like or anything that's like in the middle of the country. So
Well,
I'm just equal opportunity ignorant.
it just comes down to what is information that takes up space in your noggin. Like, what's more
Yeah.
relevant to your day-to-day life?
Mostly Sondheim lyrics. I'm wearing my Sondheim shirt right now. Stephen Sondheim lyrics.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Pokemon, Stephen Sondheim lyrics, and some other stuff like
Absolutely.
yeah, dog stuff.
Well, so this is definitely we talked about specifically how this is being a standalone movie and everything, but I'm kind of curious, what kind of standalone adventure or non-adventure would you love to see Wolverine go on to in another standalone movie?
I mean, I really like the story that WandaVision is sort of loosely based on House of M. It's the one in which it's not quite WandaVision, but what it is every X-Men wakes up in their dream universe. Like so Wolverine wakes up and he's basically Nick Fury. And Peter Parker wakes up and he's married to Mary Jane, who hasn't had her neck snapped. And all these characters are waking up in their dream scenario, and little by little, they're like, wait, something's like off. Like something's weird going on. I think like one person can like see through it, and they're like, I don't think this is really our lives, guys. Like they don't know each other. They're all like scattered to the winds. I think Wolverine, because he has the ability to remember all his past lives, is the first one to be like, wait, fuck this. This isn't even my real life. This is some messed up, like, alter ego world that's going on. And you find out that it's because Wanda has had these two fake kids. Like, she never had these children. They were just children that she imagined herself having, along with the help of Agatha all along. And she goes kind of crazy and creates an alternate universe for everyone to live out their like happiest fantasy version of life. And so in this world, there is the House of M, which is like this big fashion designer house run by Magneto that has her and Quicksilver and like I think a third child for some reason. And every like being from every planet thinks they're the best. Why they're doing fashion, I don't know. Like why put them in fashion, I don't know. But they're a fashion house. And so basically Wolverine has to get everyone together, and with the help of this one kid who can sort of zap you out of your fugue state, like convince everybody like we have to team up. We're basically part of a worse world in which everything is way suckier, but help us go and defeat Wanda, who's like a very sweet lady, and like shatter her illusion of having a happy life with her children so we can get back to our terrible lives on planet Earth. And it's a pretty good story. Like it's a pretty compelling, interesting, and like existentially, giving sort of tale, because it really does make you think, oh my God, like why even bother? Like why not just live in the fantasy? Everything seems like total shit where you are. If you have to have a fantasy world where just like everyone isn't dead, like maybe stay there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be pretty cool. I know the House of M is a pretty iconic storyline for the X-Men franchise. I do actually want to address this. Ryan, he's mentioned the grandfather is meant to be a traditionalist, quote unquote traditionalist in the movie. So it makes sense that he has tapestries, relics referencing feudal Japan, and as he's supposed to be all about family legacy, but also his family has been active active for over 700 years. They've been protected the Black Clan, which makes his twist of him wanting Wolverine's healing to be a shock to the audience and to Mariko, who loves and honors her grandfather. But that's also kind of ironic because it's not so much a twist because it's mentioned in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And it's just reaffirmed at the very end.
I mean, like, again, we have a character whose whole deal is like, as a MacGuffin, is like, I can tell when people are gonna die, and she's like, when the grandfather dies, she's like, huh, that's weird, didn't see that coming, and you're like, oh, and she's like, I guess my parents' death, I know when I'm gonna die, I know when you're gonna die, I know it's weird, I didn't see that guy dying. Like, you're just like, oh, come on, Inspector Clouseau, get it together.
She doesn't see every person's death though.
But she sees all the people's death who's close to her. Like, she sees Logan. She can see the deaths of anyone who's close to her. And he even mentions at one point, he's like, why the fuck didn't she see this guy's dying? And she's like, I don't know. It's weird.
He also saw his death, Wolverine's death. And
yeah, but he did technically die. Like, he flatlined. And then he came back.
Right. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And also thing is, something to remember is that in feudal Japan as well as China, around that time period, there was a real obsession with this idea of more immortality. Like, I can't remember what his name was, but he was the emperor at the time, in the 500s-600s or something like that. He was obsessed with gold, and he literally tried drinking gold, thinking that was going to make him.
Oh yeah, I've heard this. Yeah,
and it was like the whole thing, and there was like, and he ended up dying because he was consuming gold. And there was actually a few emperors in China that did something very, very similar when it came to drinking and eating certain foods and everything, only to find out they were poisonous. Crazy.
Yeah, alchemy's a bitch, bro.
So his character in particular never, I think he did like this idea of legacy. However, he mentioned several times throughout the film, especially at the end, he just reaffirmed it, where he said that essentially no life that's this long is worth anything. It's only worth something if it's that long, like you. Mm-hmm. And he's talking to, and that's why that point where he stabs Wolverine essentially.
Yeah, there's a Valerian execution style that was literally the Game of Thrones thing of pouring molten gold down someone's throat when the King Shapur would get tired of you and then would rupture all your organs and burn you and choke you. That's horrifying.
Yeah,
that's horrifying. Just like, don't do that. Burp.
Yeah, but the obsession with the idea of immortality is not a new thing. It's not something that is.
I don't see anyone doing it on their own volition. I see it as like a torture thing, but like maybe some guy did it. I mean, come on, is that different than what we do now? We fucking have like gold leaf on our very expensive food, so we can literally shit gold. But the point being that, like, I think it's more what's confusing about this, just a little bit muddied in terms of, like, again, this might just be an American writer and American director doing a take on, like, Japanese culture, is it's less about whether this guy wants to be immortal or not, less about legacy, and more just about, like, what he's planning to do with his own child and grandchild, right? Like, he might not like his son, but did he want his son murdered? And, like, what is he planning to do with his granddaughter? Like, it feels like he's about to murder her at the end. Like, what is going on?
I honestly thought he looked at his children as a means to an end. I don't know if he really had a real genuine, from his point of view, loving, caring relationship. He saw his children, his heirs, as people that can be manipulated, people that he needs to help.
Would we see him as a real sociopath? Like, do we? Because he first came to Wolverine not with like a threat, but he came to him with an offer of like, maybe you want to do this.
Yeah. Well, I think he's again, he was like, that's why he just kind of very much came off to me. And he's also at the very end, he showed no remorse. He knew his daughter was there, and he put her in. I don't care. I need to get my own morality. I don't care. I can have more kids. I don't care about you. I can have more granddaughters.
Yeah, like an invincible thing. But I guess, but like again, what's the plan? She doesn't even own the company yet. Like, why kidnap her? Like, what was the means to it? Like, we hear the ninja guy, the head of the Black Knights or whatever, Black, what are they called?
The Black Clan.
Black Clan. We hear like the guy that's in charge of it be like, "Don't worry, Viper's just a means to an end. We all know she's evil." And I'm like, great. What was the means to the end? Like, it was just to get Wolverine's like little powers. That was it. Because I feel like he could have just done that night when he was sleeping in bed. Like, he did when she put like a little thing in him. You could have just done it then. Why go through the rigmarole?
He was still so powerful. He still had his guard up.
Okay, but he not enough to not get it, that little throat thing down his like heart, you know? And I guess again, just realistically, if the guy's whole plan was to port himself into, I guess I'm just like confused about the logistics. So if he puts his samurai suit on and then he puts his ports into like where Wolverine's adamantium claws used to be, he can suck the life out of Wolverine, thereby becoming young immediately. But what if Wolverine still had that suppressor thing in him? Why in the world would he not have had that suppressor thing in him? In which case, like, none of it would have worked.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kept thinking that one is working significantly faster than the other. That was my thought process. Like the little thingies, it wasn't so much like
that was helping him not regenerate. Yeah.
It wasn't so much like preventing him from it just was preventing him from healing. It wasn't
super fast.
Yeah.
But like the immortality thing, like
human weight at that point.
So here's the other thing. Like you said, Wolverine is not immortal in the sense that he's just constantly staying young. Wolverine is just aging at a very slow rate. So why would taking Wolverine's power make you younger? It doesn't heal you into youth. Like that's not his thing, is that he doesn't regenerate into a youthful man. It's just that he's aging slowly. So like that's not even his power. Why would that be what you're able to get? Is you take Wolverine's power, you become a young man? Like that's not how I think his powers work.
I don't know. Maybe it was more that he got so much of that healing juice. It healed his body so quickly.
Yeah.
And it put him in his physical prime.
I guess. Like, yeah, it's like a midnight mass sort of thing.
Versus like Hugh Jackman, his physical prime is like where he is in that movie. Versus like this other guy's physical prime is when he's like a 25-year-old child. I don't know.
Again, maybe like as a script doctor or whatever, maybe the easier fix for the story is that he's never dead. Maybe it's just like he goes into a coma. And his plan is once, he fake goes into a coma. And his plan is once he's able to steal the Wolverine's powers or do whatever, because in this world, the Wolverine power makes sense and he's an old man, but he stays old and he doesn't die. So that way he can wake up from the coma, be like, whoop, I'm all better, and then like retain his fortune. Or have him become young and have the plan be that like there was something in the will that said, when they eventually got to the will reading, that said, this actually belongs to my true heir, the grandson that you never knew I had. You'll know him from like this scar on his face that was exactly like my scar, and then let him take over in this new identity. Having him show up as a young dude with a scar on his face and be like, I'm going to take this away from this granddaughter. Like, I don't understand how they think that was going to work. Like, how was that going to work?
Wouldn't his scar heal?
I mean, fucking, I don't know. His scar did not heal. He still had the scar on his face when he got young. Maybe it starts at like the point where he met Wolverine. Maybe it doesn't work on like Nagasaki. No, it worked on Wolverine, Nagasaki Burns. I mean, I just think, guys, if you guys have any suggestions about how the fuck this worked, why they needed Viper in the first place, what did she do? What did she bring to the equation? How did she help the greater good? Like, why did he even team up with her?
I thought she was. She was also her. She felt like her character. I actually liked her character. I thought she was a fun time, but she was definitely in a. Yeah, but she is in another movie. Like, she is the only one in a quote-unquote, like, X-Men villain costume. She's, like, in this, like, green onesie with gloves up to here.
Yeah, I thought she was going to turn out to be Mystique, honestly.
She like, with her, like, neck thing. And I was like, okay, this is, like, she looks like an X-Men villain, and I'm here for it. But literally no one else is, like, dressed up in their, like, X-Men villain garb. This
did lead to a very funny moment where NerdChronic just turns to me and he goes, like, because she's shedding off her skin at one point because she's like Viper. She's like a snake thing. She can regenerate. Yeah. She can make poison, but she's also immune to poison.
She is
so this gets complicated.
Poison.
Especially the poison that is man, which I guess is her saying she's a lesbian. I guess.
I know. That's what I thought. So I was like, are you just like,
why do they need a poison X-Men? Like, wouldn't having that daughter who like, or the fake daughter who can like read everyone's death note That seems like a way more like necessary and important person to have around. The poison lady, who's clearly evil, I don't see why you hire her to be part of your team. What does she bring? Like, you already have the clan of like ancient samurai helping you. You already have like all these other mutants. What is the evil American lizard lady, snake lady help? It did lead NerdChronic though, when she was taking off her face and her skin and everything, and she was bald underneath. And NerdChronic just goes, "Wouldn't it be funny if snakes could grow hair?" And I was like, yes, that is the funniest image I can imagine. Like, just like a mane, like a luxurious mane of blonde hair coming out of like a snake's neck or something, or just down its back. Just like it's like tossing its hair, being like,
so luscious.
So she was weird and unnecessary. Did she help build the suit? Like, how does Poison help build that big mech suit, like the fucking Jaeger?
I kept thinking that maybe she's in this movie because every X-Men movie, they need one quote unquote badass chick.
And they could have. I just don't think that was the right power.
Yeah,
like, I don't
that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Let me just go down a list real quick of some cool X-Men villains that they could have had in that would have been like more appropriate to the story. Mm-hmm. Let me see. For a second, think for a moment about who they could be. I feel like Mystique would have been a good one for this one because, again, like morphing into different people, very helpful.
Yeah, at this time, the only Mystique that they had was Jennifer.
But the nice thing about Mystique is the only thing you need about Mystique is she can be played by anybody. Like, you only need her to show up at the end as the actual...
but it's like it was a contract thing though. Like,
okay, but like just have her be played by other people.
Yeah, but no one is allowed to play her, even if hypothetically, because she could transform into other people. Like, no one is allowed.
Who's part of that league of like the Hellfire Club? There's like a lot of Hellfire Club guys I feel like could have been helpful in this situation. Let's see. We got this would have been a great time to bring in what's her name? The Snow Queen. What guys, some nerds in the comments tell me what I'm thinking of.
The Snow Queen chick, she died though.
No, the freaking what are they called?
January character?
Yeah, January Jones's character.
She died.
In what the original 3?
No, not in the original 3. She died.
Yeah, but this was after the original 3. This wasn't after the new ones.
Yeah, but it's like she was in first.
Emma Frost. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was in First Class.
But First Class hadn't come out yet, had it?
Yes, it did.
First Class came out after. No, because that was like.
Was it?
Let's see. No.
But also that was.
Oh, you're right. It did. It did come out before this.
Yeah, because I remember the Kevin Bacon one, but it was like around the time it took place during the Cuban Missile Crisis, though.
Yeah. So that's another weird thing. Okay, that's another weird thing. We are already this movie came out when we've already restarted the X-Men franchise to take place in the past. Well, that's a weird thing to do. So it's almost like but like just timeline wise, I feel like that's a little muddy because this movie is directly taking place after like the events of The Last Stand or whatever. Like, so why is this coming out like after we've already sort of rebooted the series to have a new cast and take place in the 70s?
Because technically it does, and according to its own timeline, does take place after The Last Stand. But
yeah, but it's almost like muddying what The Last Stand is versus this new thing.
All those movies, like First Class and everything, those are prequels to X-Men.
No, I understand, but they're like. And what Days of Future Past does is like kind of bridge that gap. What I'm saying is, and maybe this is just a personal preference thing, but like if I'm already on board for like this new X-Men First Class and these new characters and these new people playing these new characters, yes, Wolverine shows up for like a hot second in First Class, but like I'm getting used to all these new characters and the idea that Jean Grey hasn't been born yet and like or like isn't alive yet, and now you're going back and telling me like Jean Grey from that other timeline is like fucking with Wolverine in this timeline, which is like not the same thing as the stuff going on in the 70s with these new people. It's just like, wait, there was a mid-credit scene? Oh shit, I missed any of the. What happened in the credit scenes, guys? Tell me, I missed it. Okay, anyway, Emma Frost. You're right. So that would have made it really complicated to add in fucking Emma Frost if she's already dead in that timeline. This
Yeah.
is what I'm
Who's
saying.
Lady Deathstrike? I don't know.
Lady Deathstrike, is she the crazy one that's sort of like the delirium of that world? There is one buddy in the Hellfire Club who's like a delirium kind of crazy bitch.
I thought Lady Deathstrike isn't who is that chick? I know she in real life she's like she's Asian American, but she was in X2, I believe.
Hmm?
I think. Or wasn't she in Let's Dance? I don't know. But yeah, she was kind of like Wolverine, where she had healing abilities ish.
Okay.
But it like the things came out of her. Yeah, the things came out of her hand, her fingernails instead of her knuckles, essentially.
Huh. That's
She's like, and it like almost looks like whips, essentially like these knife like whip things. And she was like,
absolutely. Give it to another canonically Asian character. That'd have been great.
yeah,
That would have been great. I'm trying to see
Kelly
like who's the one I'm
Sue,
thinking of who's like the crazy one who's sort of like I know she's in the Joss Whedon one where she's like a part of that storyline where she can sort of make you hallucinate things. That would have been cool instead of like a poison person who's really unnecessary. Also, I do think this maybe falls into the trap of like every X-Men also has like this crazy fighting power that should like they're all imbued with the power of like fighting at a mutant level, even though their power is like precognition and shouldn't technically be you can fight that good. You can fight good.
Also, there's a lot of I think a lot of people have to remember is that mutants sure have powers, but that doesn't mean they're going to be a good fighter or they're going to be good at using their powers.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look up Lady Deathstrike. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but yeah, she was a character that was experimented on and given adamantium.
Perfect. Oh wait, so there is a canonically Asian character whose powers are just like Wolverine's, and you're telling me she was not in this movie for some reason? Like that seems like that would have been the perfect fucking villain for this film.
As far as I know, in the comics, she wasn't Asian.
Oh no, I'm looking at the comics. There's definitely comics of her being Asian.
Are they more recent comics, or are they?
I don't know. It's like Google Lady Deathstrike on the Wikia. There's a picture of her in Messiah. I don't know when that's from, but it's pretty. It's definitely her done up in almost like cool badass warrior meets not geisha, but like she kind of got that look. Let's see what is this from. It is from Lady Deathstrike. Is from. Let's see what this issue is. It doesn't say. Oh yeah, here we go. It was. No, it doesn't say. It just says the UK version. Remember Lady Deathstrike happened. Deathstrike 87. So I don't know when that was, but it looks like it was not that recent. So
well, regardless, it would be cool to see some more badass.
Yeah, let's do that, guys. Who decided to go with the Lizard Lady?
And also, I just really want a real badass a mutant villain played by a woman.
Here we go.
Everything was cool, but
so she first appeared. She first appeared in Daredevil 197 as an Asian character. Which let's see, yeah, and that was a while ago. Let's see, 187 was 187 was already back in the 70s, 80s. Yeah, we're looking at the 1970s. It seems like for her characters, 1980, 1982 or something. Mm-hmm. So she was already an Asian character who was born in Osaka, Japan. His father was Lord Darkwind, a Japanese crime lord and a scientist. Former kamikaze pilot during World War II. It actually seems like this is the character that maybe she's supposed to be because it says his face was horribly scarred in an American battleship. So yeah, seems like maybe she should have been the bad guy. Somebody's saying there's a mid-credit sequence that I missed. The mid ties into Days of Future Past. Interesting. Somebody's saying wasn't it Jubilee Allison? Wasn't Jubilee Asian? Sure, but she's not a bad guy.
I would say I don't remember her character being. Because I know she is an X-Men character. I don't remember her being Asian. I know she was cast as an Asian.
She's cast in the cartoons.
Yeah. And
in the movies.
In the movie, her scene was deleted.
No, she was in what's it called? Not Days of Future Past, the one after that. She was in the 80s one, and she was in the mall scene and other things.
All her
The Apocalypse, she was absolutely in Apocalypse, like as a full character.
For theatrically released, it was cut though.
No, I promise you, like it wasn't, because I reviewed the theatrical release of this movie. There was the mall scene in Apocalypse where they all go to the mall and they do stuff. She's wearing the yellow coat. She's like a big part of the movie. She doesn't have that many lines, but she's like she's a big part of the film.
The wrong movie? It's like, which one am I thinking about?
It's Jubilee. It's this one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know her character. Yeah, it's like, well,
but, like,
you
don't remember her in X-Men in Apocalypse?
I was like, no, I don't remember her scenes at all. I remember her in interviews talking about how disappointed she was at her.
I mean, I'm sure her scenes got cut like down, but like no, she's definitely in.
She was supposed to be in a different. She was supposed to be in one of the other movies.
Maybe that's probably in the 80s one. That's where you have to get introduced to the new class. So, but yeah, she's definitely in a bunch of scenes here. There's the mall. They're hanging out. Yeah, she's definitely in a couple scenes there, but she's not a bad guy. So that point being said, they go to Return of the Jedi. Oh, they go to Return of the Jedi, right?
She is the daughter of prosperous Chinese immigrants.
Yes. But the point being, well, Chinese is not Japan, first of all, and second of all, she's not a bad guy. So I'm talking about villain Lady Deathstrike, missed opportunity, especially if she was an X2. Bring her back. Bring back her whole deal. Or did they kill her? I don't know. Psylocke was half Asian in Apocalypse, but that's again, like, it's not. I'm just talking about like what canonically would have been a better villain than the random ass Viper.
Like, also, was that just the casting, or is that actually her character? I don't know.
I think that was the casting.
I don't know.
Psylocke is. I don't know. I should have remembered this from college, where I studied comic books. I'm an idiot.
There was Sunfire, which is not a woman, but he's a Japanese mutant who can that can generate superheated plasma and fly.
Well, I'm trying to think. Would that be helpful in? I'm trying to think in this storyline. Would that be helpful? The plasma part, maybe. Like the plasma
I could see him like being maybe he hypothetically perhaps like a genius scientist, and
or he's the one that like can help transfer over the power, like plasma regeneration or something.
Yeah,
she's played by Olivia Munn. That's the Psylocke character, right?
Yeah,
But the character is, let's see, Cavalon. Her name is Elizabeth. So. I don't think so. I don't think she was always Asian.
I know Asian women that have been named Elizabeth and like pretty.
In 1989, she is kidnapped by the Hand, who brainwash her and physically alter her to take on an East Asian appearance. And then she goes by the name, kill me, Lady Mandarin, because I guess she gets taken. She's taken by the Shang-Chi group, and so they're being run by the Mandarin. So
I wouldn't like it. I would be also a little like it would be like a little obvious, a little on the nose. Also, if they took the name Viper and like cast an Asian woman in that character, and it would just be like literally the translation to Dragon Lady mutant.
But considering the fact that like Viper is unnecessary for this role, like her powers are unnecessary, she's unnecessary. She stands out as the only other actor who's not Asian in this story, and you're like, why is she even there?
She has like a few interesting scenes that really highlight that she has her own life outside of what's going on. Like there's like a few times where some guys try to pursue her, and he's like, hey, how much, kind of thing, and she's like, oh fuck, and she ends up like making out, like kissing him for a second, and he dies, and I'm kind of like, you know what, yeah. But
okay, let's see. There was there's like, let's see, I'm going through the list now. There is Blink, who is a character who is create dimension warping portals that can teleport people and objects, sort of, I guess, like a Nightcrawler. Doesn't seem that helpful in this situation. Let's see. There's also Lady Deathstrike would have been badass. Let's see who else we got here. Black Clan. That's the Blink guy. Let's see. We already met the Black Clan. There's also General Nyung. There is PHAT. So Fat. He has the ability to expand his body, making him larger and fatter. Doesn't seem that helpful in here. Let's try. I'm just
only a man.
Yeah, right. I feel like it could have been anyone, but I feel like the ability to get fat is just as helpful here as the ability to do poison to somebody who is basically immortal. So you're saying Lady Deathstrike was already off the table. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there just feels like there could have been somebody else. Or you know what? Create a new one. How about that? You create a new character just for the story. Fuck it. Fuck it, man. Was there anyone in New Mutants who fit this description that could have worked?
I haven't seen New Mutants.
Oh my god, don't see New Mutants. Or go see New Mutants because it's a good concept, but it just was poorly done. Whoa, thank you. RDJ. What'd you say, baby? You're just saying nothing. RDG124 coming in with a super chat. Thanks, baby. I'm gonna change if the super chats don't affect this tip bar, so I'm gonna add in Adams and do this real quick.
Appreciate you.
Anybody can type in with some more. You know what? They don't even have to be Asian. How about this? They just have to be non-white for this to have worked better for me. For the main antagonists to this movie to work, it reeks of like weird, like it just reeks weird to me that like the rest of this movie, the cast is Asian. I like that Wolverine's a fish out of water. He's doing all his things there. Didn't love when he screamed "Speak English" to that one guy who was trying to talk to the other chick. Like the guy that he threw out the window, the minister of whatever.
Well, yeah, he
was like, speak English, and I'm like, he doesn't have to. It's his country.
Yeah, well, he was saying that just because he's like he was trying to talk to her, and it was clear that he was trying to reason with her.
Yeah, but he's hurt. Like if you're hurt, you're not going to be like doing your best English, like second language, right? Like he's just kind of trying to like talk and communicate, and this guy's like, speak English, almost like, go back to your country, speak English. It just read wrong to me. But
I definitely agree with you there. It just came across to me where he's like, hey, I need you to talk to me. I don't need you talking to her. I need you to talk to me right now. That's how
in my language, because I am a jerk.
Well, I mean, considering the situation, it's kind of forgivable a little bit.
I mean, that guy was a piece of shit.
He was awful. And he was like, yeah, we never had a connection. We never really had plans. It was never going to happen. Like it was arranged for like with the dad.
Also, Yukio from the Deadpool movies, the one who's dating what's her name, Supersonic, whatever her name, like
the little baby X-Men. Yeah, she was she was
so Yukio, she's like, hi Yukio. So she's apparently a demon, which is cool. That's gonna be awesome. So Yukio, again, Nagasonic Teenage Warhead. Woof. Don't put Negasonic in that other movie. So yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been cool, but she also would have been a baby, though.
Sure, I was just saying, you mess with the timelines here, right? Because like that character was young because they wanted her to be young for the movies, but I think originally probably
she's in her mid-late teens in Deadpool.
But yeah, again though, like this is before Deadpool came out, and a lot of these characters, they are arbitrarily deciding which ones are going to be kids for the new class. Like he's already met Jean Grey when she was an adult, but like she becomes a kid again when they need to do this. Yukio, X-Men. Let me see her deal. By the way, I can't look at the comments when I'm doing this, so if anyone's saying something interesting, let me know. Yukio is a demon, straight up, as a Japanese ninja. Well, there you go. And mutant with powers that differ in both the original and the revised timeline. In the original timeline, she has the ability to see the death of living creatures. Oh my God, she's the other character. Is she just the other character in this movie? They just gave her a different name?
Yes.
Because that would be, it's just the character that's already in this movie. Well, fuck me then. She is just the Yukio that's in this film. Good for me, guys. You can tell that I'm paying a lot of attention to this film because the red-haired chick is Yukio. Good job. Yeah. So I guess they have revamped her. Again, from a timeline that already has New Mutants or X-Men First Class, where Yukio is about to be, I don't know, is the Deadpool? Yeah, the Deadpool continuum is in the one of X-Men First Class because you see him for a hot second in the second Deadpool movie.
Yes.
Fine. So Yukio is now regenerated from somebody who was Wolverine's friend in 2013 and like at least in her 20s, to somebody who is now like 15 and dating Negasonic by Deadpool 2. Fine, whatever. Fuck it. Fuck it. I really didn't buy that those two knew each other, Yukio and her sister Meraki, or is that her name?
Something. Give me a hot second. Give me a hot second.
Mariko.
Yukio.
Yeah, did I really miss this character's name as Yukio? Damn.
Yukio
guys,
and
give me a shout out in the chat. Make me feel better about it. Did you guys realize that was the same Yukio as Deadpool 2? Like the chick in this movie? Did not catch that. Hi, Yukio. This movie also had one other connection to Deadpool 2. Did you notice it?
What?
The fucking death, the Jean Grey death stuff was exactly like the death in, Mariko. Sorry, I don't know how to do phonetic pronunciations. Mariko? Am I doing the emphasis on the wrong thing? I did not realize they were the same. Thank you. So I don't feel so dumb. Guys, I majored in comic books in college. This should not be me right now. Don't ask how, but I made it my own major because it was Oberlin. The point being, there's so many X-Men in this universe. Like, there's so many X-Men with cool powers. That's what I love about the X-Men. They're just millions of them, and you can just create them whenever you want, and they can have whatever random ass powers you need them to have. And like, that makes X-Men so much more interesting to me as a world, like as a sum total world, than a lot of the other superhero stuff, because it's like potentially infinite. Like, people can have the most random ass superpowers. They can trade superpowers. Like, the superpowers can be highly niche and like weird. It's almost like that British show Misfits, where it's like, this guy has the power to control trees. He's like lacto-phonetic or something. Like, I love the idea of the neat. That's a true thing. And Misfits is, by the way, the greatest show. If you ever want to watch like X-Men, but they're all delinquent team. If you want to see a good version of New Mutants, watch a show called Misfits. It is brilliant.
Noted.
It is a brilliant show. It stars Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones and some other people. But it's about a show about a bunch of British delinquents who get like sent to what's it called? Like, they're in like not remedial stuff, but they have to do community service for fucking up like in different ways. And then they all get hit by a strike of lightning, and they all develop powers that are related to their biggest insecurities. Because they're high schoolers, so their superpowers manifest as their biggest insecurities. So like Simon, sorry,
I'm into that.
Yeah, so and it's really funny too. Like, Ramsay Bolton's character is like very shy, so his thing is he turns invisible. There's a guy who's a long distance runner who'd been kicked off a team because of like drug problems, and he got caught. So his thing is that he can time travel to whenever he last did something that he's ashamed of. But the problem is he can only travel back to that last period of time, and he will keep traveling back to that period of time until he rectifies the situation and doesn't feel ashamed anymore. That's like a shitty power. The girl who's really insecure can read minds and hear what everyone's thinking about her.
No.
I mean, like, everyone's power is and then they meet all these other kids with powers, and their powers are completely ludicrous, and yet at the same time make like intuitive sense. Like, your superpower would be something that is, if you get a teenagehood, it would be something really related to like your deepest insecurities. The show is hilariously funny. I think it's on Hulu. Go check it out, because that is what like the X-Men universe should be.
Is it a pretty recent series?
It's like from 2009, 2011 or something. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it would be successful as a live action series, specifically in the idea that like the New Mutants was supposed to kind of be a horror version of X-Men. That's kind of what Misfits is. It's sort of like a horror, campy, but Doctor Who almost too, like science fiction element. They keep meeting these villains whose powers are completely arbitrary, like the guy who can control milk, or a girl who wanted to be popular and now she can like control a cult. Like, she can like make you brainwash. There's a guy whose power is that he can take your power and switch you up with somebody else's power. There's like a bunch of things going on every episode, and the best part of the show is they're never trying to be superheroes. Like, they do not have any interest in saving the world. All they're trying to do is cover up the death of their social workers who they keep accidentally murdering.
The only X-Men series, live action series, I do want to clarify, live action series I would ever want is a X-Men anthology series.
Yes.
Where you can,
True.
because I love the concept of New Mutants. I would love to see a I would love to see a horror. I would love to see an X-Men horror movie. I would love to see an X-Men rom-com. I know Deadpool's like, oh, Deadpool's a rom-com, and like, sure, but
it's rom-com not written by Ryan Reynolds. How about that?
It's a very action-heavy rom-com in that case. But I just want like,
you want genre.
Yeah, I just want variety, and I also would love to see it in like different directors and writers.
Yes, Queen. Wait, are you thinking seasonal anthology or like episodic anthology, like Twilight Zone every episode?
I would love to see episodic.
I like what they did with the new Star Wars, like that Star Wars animated Disney thing.
Yeah, I was like, I want variety. I want a variety of actors. I want a variety of writers and different characters and everything. Sure, you can do something like throughout a whole season.
Love that. No, go with that.
I want something different.
I love that. Make them all episodic one-offs. Just each episode is dealing with a different X-Men living in a different part of the world who has nothing to do with Xavier. Maybe at the end, there's like one line where they all like meet Xavier or get.
I want some Eskimo mutants. I want some mutants. I want some random frat boy discovering his.
I want to show that literally just the not even the B team, like the D team of X-Men people that we never see, like
random shit. They can like from a variety of backgrounds in countries around the world in languages I do not speak. I want subtitles. I want a variety of directors, and I want experimentation.
Here we go. You know what? I just looked up worst X-Men superpower, and I think I found a couple good ones. Ice Cream. There's this guy, Ice Cream, but it's spelled like an I-E-I-E. His mutant power is an ability to transform himself into any ice cream flavor. Oh my God. What the fuck?
How useless.
That's like the you know what though? That phonetic guy in the Misfits, he does some damage. He almost kills all of them with his lacto powers. There's Gold Balls. Just gonna let that sit there. What does Gold Balls have? It's all in his name. He can shoot gold-colored balls from his body. That's it.
Sounds like kind of like a weird, like a weirder version of Polka Dot Man from.
Sure, but his name is Gold Balls, and then look, his thing is, yeah, I said it. Great. So he like knows what his deal is. Okay.
All right. I respect that.
Okay. You know what? Let's keep going. We have Glob Herman. This guy can only make his skin translucent. So that's gross, and that means the enemies know where to aim. Tag secret power. He tags people.
I want more than just horror, y'all. I want a variety. So I want coming of age. I want romance. I want a war movie. I want it all.
What is this guy? Look, Alex. Look at Beak.
He's a bird, hollow bones, lots of feathers. Beak. Oh, poor thing.
Oh my God, that is like a. Oh God. Okay, this guy's name is Ugly John. He has 3 faces, all of which are ugly, and that's his only power.
That's not a power. That's just not a power.
Well, no, what? They never said it had to be power. It's a mutation. That's his mutation.
Oh, that's fair. That's a medical condition, my dude.
Cypher seems pretty actually useful. Cypher has the ability to translate any language, both human and alien. You know what? Fuck it. That's handy.
I want that.
Long neck. I guess I like the idea that some of the mutations are literally just that's what they are. They're mutations. They're not powers.
Yeah, I respect that.
Go for it, long neck. Zeitgeist, funny. He can burn acid vomit that can go about through everything. Oh, that's kind of like the guy from Deadpool 2, right?
Yeah, that is Zeitgeist, yeah.
Kylon, he can mimic any sound he hears using his vocal cords. Cool.
Oh, that's useful.
This is, I guess, the most racist X-Men. So his name is Jazz, and he can make his skin turn blue. Moving on. Jubilee is kind of useless. Skin. Try to contain your surprise when we tell you skin mutant power is his skin, and it's elastic. Okay, well, so he has like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So do I. Layla Miller she can resurrect the dead. That is pretty cool. But they come back without their souls. She can do zombies. Maggot, 2 creatures that can devour anything live in his digestive. Oh wait, he can't eat. However, 2 creatures that can devour anything live in his digestive system. They leave his body, eat, then return to impart the energy. Maggot, he can't eat. However, he can't eat. He can't eat food, but there's 2 creatures that can devour anything live in his digestive system. So they leave his body, eat food, and then return it to impart the calories and stuff.
Sounds like a very slow process.
It's complicated, is what they say. Mimic, he can mimic anyone near him. That's actually pretty helpful. And Brew. Brew's big power is, wait for it, the compassion and ability to think for himself. What? What?
Wait.
Oh, I see. He's a mutant of another species that can't think for itself. Okay.
Oh,
well, that's cool. So other species have mutants.
That's funny. That's cute. I see what it is.
That's cute. Adam X can essentially make his enemy's blood combust. That's useful. So I'm missing that one.
Rogue has some of those. Rogue's power is useful, but Rogue's power sucks.
Ooh, Stacey X, a former prostitute.
I'd want to get rid of that power so fast.
A former prostitute, Stacey X has the power to control pheromones, meaning she can control your bodily functions like orgasm, nausea, and vomiting. Okay. Alex, why does she need to be a former prostitute? None of the other X-Men's powers link up to their like what they did in a prior life or whatever. But whatever. Alex, what would your superhuman X-Men power be?
Procrastination.
Nice. What would that look like?
Procrastination.
What would that look like? Like, what would the power? Like, how do we come in handy in a battle?
The power. I would be so good at talking to people that they would just get so annoyed with me that they would just stop attacking me.
Boom, bitch! You just came up with my idea, my old idea that I brought up this question so I could give mine. I was thinking procrastination. First of all, I think procrastination power is the ability to slow down time when it came to a pivotal battle scene. So you can waste all the time you want, but then when it comes to the pivotal battle scene, you slow down time and rush to get everything done in that small period. So it's basically a slow down time period.
Or that's a lot cooler for sure.
Or procrastination could be the ability to like induce lethargy in like anyone around you, so you can make them like uninterested in a battle. That would be kind of cool. Or distract them, or give them like ADHD. Mine was always going to be the power of social awkwardness. So like I'd be able to project as like the opposite of empathy. So I'd be able to project my feelings onto other people. So my social anxiety would be able to be projected onto everyone else in the surrounding area. So I can make crowds disperse. I can make people want to stop fighting because they're like, oh, I just don't feel comfortable. I don't want to be around people anymore.
Also probably severe laziness.
Yeah, like you could sort of induce the
I would be like, I would shoot it like I would it would be like it would be like I know it would be kind of counteractive to say like this, but it would be like an energy beam of laziness where I shoot it at someone and they're just like, and they just start rethinking and they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm just tired. I just want to go home.
Yeah, so like a psychic sort of malaise. We could call you. Oh my god, we could call you.
I can't convince them to do anything else. All it would do for them, it would be like, you know what? I don't want to do anything. I'm just gonna like sit on the floor and just nap.
You're either gonna be misanthropic or Ennui. That'd be a good character name. Yeah. I think another cool one would be I just had it. It would be like the power to. Oh fuck! I just had it. What was it? Procrastination would always show up last to a fight. Good point.
Facts.
Eric, I think Eric always said that his would be teleportation, which I think is like cool. It's a little basic, but it's pretty cool. It's useful. You can see why teleportation would be really useful. It just has to be one of those teleportations where it's not like you're teleported into a wall accidentally. I'd also really like the power of bringing fictional characters to life. Like that would be a cool one for me, where you could bring people out of books and movies and like make them real. Like Purple Rose of Cairo.
I have a love-hate relationship with that. I feel like that's a horror book come to life.
It is actually a plot of several movies and books. I actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Scratch that. You know what I want? I want the malleable screen ability. I want the ability to walk in, like Last Action Hero style, walk in and out of between fictional worlds and our world. So like I could go into the world of like Harry Potter and like fuck around there and bring characters out from there.
That'd be
That'd
dope.
be cool. That'd be cool.
Although you would have to be careful not to get so lost going into one of the worlds.
Well, that would be one of the things.
Part of it. But you would have to be part of it where you end up as you have to be careful not to completely lose yourself in that world where
that would be a great story, right? Like you get lost in Oz, or you get too invested in like the struggles of a fictional universe and you don't want to leave. Meanwhile, like a bad guy from that universe escapes and is back in the real world causing havoc.
Are you just describing the plot to Last Action Hero?
That's what I'm saying. It's Last Action Hero. It's Purple Rose of Cairo. It's that movie with Brendan Fraser. That was like the last big Brendan Fraser movie.
Inkheart.
Yes, it is Ink. There you go, girl. It's Inkheart. Yeah, I just want one of these powers that just seems very okay, let's put it this way. What's a VideoDrew power? Teeth?
What was it? Like when you say a VideoDrew power, I don't know what that means.
Like VideoDrew the character, like what would her X-Men power be? I think it would just be like a sort of Joker smile X gas that makes everyone like just kind of have a rictus grimace on their face. Or we could call her the Trivium. And like her thing is that like you just get really distracted by like minute trivia about bullshit instead of focusing
I would think it's something like related to how you manipulate things around you. Honestly, like it was like your ability to manipulate.
Ooh, hold on.
It was a great moment when Han taught Logan how to drift through the streets of Tokyo.
Yo, John Lastrina just saying it was a great moment when Han taught Logan how to drift through the streets of Tokyo. Real quick, John Lastrina, were you here for the part where we mentioned that Justin Lin was at one point attached to doing the Wolverine? And how cool would have that been? That would have been good. I saw it as a movie Teeth. Yeah. No, my ability would just be the ability to make you regenerate too many teeth in your head. So you're like a lamprey and then everyone has too much teeth.
Hear me out. You can pretty much make a poltergeist happen.
Oh yeah. Well, that's sort of like the one
where you can make it. You have like a thing with dolls everywhere. Dolls are always with you.
There's one chick from the Uncanny X-Men run that I believe Whedon did, whose power was she's part of the Hellfire Club. She was kind of crazy like Delirium from the Sandman series. And her power was sort of like she can induce a sort of psychosis or like hallucinations. And she's awesome. And she just talks in a really funny childlike way. And I really liked her.
I'm into that. I'm gonna go with the ability to make dolls do your bidding though.
Ooh, let's see if there's a dolls X-Men. So that's what I'm saying. That's what's so cool about X-Men. I feel like they don't really explore. It's like how there's
you can do that to any item, but you have a thing for dolls, and so dolls are like your thing.
Superpower. Doll superpower. I mean, there must be some creepy ass bitch running around there with like some doll superpower. There's Doll Man. There's Doll Man.
Doll Man.
Oh, but he's part of DC, sorry. But his power is that he enables him to shrink to 6 inches. Oh, that's boring. That's not exactly what I want. Whisper Doll, martial arts expert. Oh, this one could have been good for this movie. Whisper Doll was a member of the Raksha, a team of ruthless mutant vigilantes. They were inspired by Wolverine, who they knew as Patch. Their powers are, let's see, what can they do? Let's see, what can she do? Powers and abilities is a following ability. Telepathic resistance. At least allegedly, she's immune to the effects of telepathy, and she's a martial arts expert. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's more of a defensive Pokemon move. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good, guys. If you have any X-Men superpowers that you would have liked to see,
or any
X-Men in the comments, I think
you would love to see.
That about wraps it up for this week. Next week, guys, we have we're going to be trying to do our second half of the Christmas holiday movie bracket. We're going to see if we can get Bibbs back on, see if we can get maybe another guest on, because we still have a lot to go there. There was some contentious wins over this bracket, but we have some stuff going on. Otherwise, what do we have coming up next? Let's see. I'm like looking at the Mangold stuff. We're kind of coming up
I
to
think
our current timeline.
Logan. I think it is actually Logan.
No, it can't be Logan. Really?
I think so. Let
You're
me
right. Holy shit. He took some time off. Okay. Good for
He had a
him.
lot of options, man.
You know what? Good for him. So we're already at, wow. So he took
Yeah,
5 movies
Logan.
off
We're
to just do Logan.
done. We're gonna be able to finish James Mangold before the end of the year.
Well, no, there's Ford versus Ferrari, right?
Yeah. So it's just
Oh.
this, Logan, and then 4v Ferrari.
Yeah, but we still have the bracket. So next week, if the next week's the bracket, wouldn't that
will be our first movie of the new year.
Let's see if we can finish it off. Next week would be the bracket. Yeah. If we cut out the bracket or use it as a special episode another day, then we could finish up all his movies by the end of the year, which does feel good to me. So let's put a pin on what we're gonna be doing for next week, guys. But otherwise, Alex, where can people find you when you're not out there doing your X-Men super shit?
I'm pitching all my X-Men horror movies and coming of age and romance and international stories because obviously, you know what I need, y'all? I need a what's his name? Of Parasite, the director of Parasite. What's his name?
Oh, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho. Yeah, I need a Bong Joon-ho directed X-Men story set in Korea. Make that happen. I don't want it to be a coming of age story. So all that good stuff. So you can actually find me doing my many movie rants, etc., and help motivate me as I come across my personal movie challenge for the end of the year. I am trying to hit 300 new first watch movies before the end of the year, and I just finished 269 today, and so I'm going to try to watch another movie tonight before I go to bed. Hit 270.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, guys. As for me, I am VideoDrew. You can find me anywhere you feel like. But also check out Content Candy. It's nom nom for your ears. And it is boop, boop, boop. It is my new podcast network that I'm doing with NerdChronic. It has shows like Garmin Shows You with me and Lon Harris, the Video Chronicles. We're going to be doing reviews of stuff pretty soon. Got some time coming up. We also have just a lot of good programming. The Cinema Bias goes up on there. So if you want to, please leave a nice review over wherever you listen to podcasts by checking out Content Candy. And if you do, I will endorse you for whatever you want on LinkedIn. Take me up on this. I will endorse you for whatever you want on LinkedIn. So that can be really helpful if my name is worth anything. Otherwise, Why Are We Like This with me and Adam Collins, Live in the Dark with VideoDrew. On Thursday, we're having our epic 40-question mega Lord of the Rings quiz on the VideoChronic, the VideoChronic pop culture quiz, which Marisol is taking part in. Chris Ingle has written the questions. We have a bunch of people joining us. It's going to be, Adelia is going to be playing. It's going to be awesome, guys. I have not seen if Parker's going to be in it yet. I'm guessing not because it's the Spider-Man opening night. So I'm guessing Spider is going to be at Spider-Man. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you as always. Oh yeah, my Patreon. Guys, it's the holidays. I need to buy presents for people. Sign up for my Patreon and get cool perks like study sessions, personalized greetings, and a lot of other fun stuff. So we love you. Thank you guys. And we will see you next Spider Thursday. What time Thursday? It's going to be 7 p.m. PT. Bing bong. Okay. See you guys.